Yo, how is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Down Podcast, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. I am your host, Chris Malpe, and today I am joined with my co-hosts, Jaylen McClinton and Parth Shaw. How's it going, guys?
Doing great. How are y'all doing?
Pretty good.
And we are excited to welcome to the show 9-year NFL veteran, former Utah State Aggie, current Bears long snapper born in Louisville and reigning from Pleasant View, Utah. Welcome to the show, Pat Scales.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Pat, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So today with Pat, we're going to be breaking down some things about his history playing football. He's going to talk about his expectations for the Bears in 2020. And most importantly, we're going to be campaigning for his Cameo project that he's currently doing with Roquan Smith, Pat O'Donnell, and Josh Woods. And if you tune into the video, we're going to be announcing at the end how you can actually win one of those cameos to actually get a personalized message from Pat. So be sure to tune in. All right, Pat. You spent time on many practice squads in Baltimore, Miami, in New York, and Tampa Bay before landing with the Bears in 2015. How did you stay persistent through your early years in the NFL?
I did. I bounced around quite a bit. I stayed persistent because I wanted to do it, to be honest. I knew I was good enough to do it as well, and so that kept me going. I mean, I would get hired by these teams, and it was through OTAs or training camp, and I'd see my competition, and I could also see all the other games being played, obviously, so I could watch film on the other snappers too. And then I look at my film, and I'm like, I'm just as good, if not maybe better than some of these guys in my own opinion. Of course, I was biased, but that's what kept me going. I kept getting calls, and my name stayed relevant, and so I just kept doing it because I knew that the window also is small. If you're going to make a team and you're going to give it a shot, you got to go balls to the wall and do it all out. So that's what I did.
Awesome. Parth, what do you got for him?
Recently, you joined up with Roquan Smith, Pat O'Donnell, and Josh Woods to raise money on Cameo for coronavirus relief. Can you explain what you're doing on there and how fans can get involved?
Yeah, for sure. So I just kind of hopped on board. I didn't set any of this up or anything. I think Pat O'Donnell, maybe Pat and Roquan kind of spearheaded it, but they teamed up with I Grow Chicago, which is a nonprofit organization, and they're doing super cool stuff. They're delivering hot meals to kids and families. I have some rough numbers, but they're a couple old, so I'm just kind of going through this little list right here. But they're providing books and games. They're doing bottles of soap handouts, hand sanitizers, cleaning products, the whole thing. So during this rough economic and time, people are losing jobs and stuff like that. They're still helping families, and even kids are handing out laptops and Wi-Fi devices and stuff like that so that kids can still get an education. So it's this super cool concept. And as soon as Pat told me about it, I was like, dude, I'm on board. That's cool. We're just kind of sitting at home anyways. Might as well do something. This
Absolutely.
is kind of a fun way to interact with fans anyways. And then on top of that, it's a really good thing to give back to the community. And so it was just easy and cool, and I was like, I'm all in.
Awesome, dude. Thank you very much for doing that. That's super sweet.
No, I appreciate it. Like I said, we're all stuck at home anyways. Might as well help out.
All right. Jaylen, what's your first question?
So, what's up, Pat? So my question is, Utah is known for having some of the best skiing in the country. You were born in Louisville, spent a lot of your childhood in Pleasant View. Were you a big skier growing up?
Yeah, I was. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. That's where my dad's family is from. A bunch of his aunt, uncles still live there, and actually one of my brothers still lives there. But we moved around a bunch. But even when I was a little kid, we would go on skiing vacations and stuff like that. And so when my family moved to Utah, we were 30 minutes away from resorts. So, absolutely. Me and my brothers tore that place up. We had a blast doing it.
This is an interesting one. Are you a Louisville or a Kentucky guy?
Honestly, neither. I lived there. I lived there for only 5 years, from when I was born until 5 years old, and then we moved away.
Okay.
And then my family moved back when I was in college. My mom and dad moved back, and then a couple of my brothers and sisters kind of trickled back for a short stint.
Cool.
But if you made me pick, I'd say Louisville.
Okay. Awesome. All right, so if anyone looks on the Bears social media, I'm thinking specifically of a certain TikTok I think you know about. It'll easily be able to tell that you're incredibly tight with Eddie Panero and Pat O'Donnell and that entire special teams crew, and it looks like you guys are having a blast out there every day. What's it like working alongside those two guys?
It's fun, man. We have a lot of fun. We also, we're very passionate about our crafts too. Pat, last season, O'Donnell broke the Bears net punt record, and that was something that he had been chasing for a while. And so during the whole season, I was working close. Obviously, I snapped the ball to him, and so I was really dug into that too, because I'm trying to give him a great snap on every punt so that he can get a quick, efficient handle time and do what he needs to do. So we work super close, and we have a ton of fun. It's a blast working with those guys. There's never a dull moment. There's always jokes being cracked, and it's a good time.
Awesome, man.
We have fun.
All right, Parth, what do you got?
Obviously, the virus is the most pressing issue in the world right now, and what you're doing to help people out is super inspirational. With that being said, we don't know what is ahead for the future of football. So what are you doing to stay ready this offseason in case the football season gets postponed?
I gotcha. Yeah, this is definitely a different offseason for everybody. I mean, there was a lockout in 2011, which was actually my rookie year, and so I'm a little familiar with this. But, this is different because, nobody can go to gyms. We're on lockdown. You can't go anywhere. So, I don't even have dumbbells. I don't have any weight equipment at my house. I have, you guys heard of TRX straps?
Yeah.
So I have some TRX straps, and I actually have an app that takes you through, TRX workouts. So I've been doing that, plus, sit-ups and single leg squats, and, I'm grabbing, bags of rice and stuff to add weight.
Awesome.
It's kind of crazy. I've also called my strength and conditioning coaches too, so they're giving me recommendations. I see these on Instagram, pushing trucks up and down to get a good leg up and down the road, get leg workouts in, stuff like that. And it's kind of crazy, but it's just different, man. So I'm still doing all my field work. I still long snap, obviously, and it can still go outside and run. But it's different. Yeah, we can't weight train, so I'm just doing as much as I can, within the limits that I can. So
awesome.
We'll see. I'm kind of worried about when we get back.
Absolutely. So are we.
We're going to hit the ground. We're going to hit the ground running, and dudes haven't been working out as much as they can because of all these restrictions. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how this plays out.
All right, Jaylen.
So we're all college students or younger, and I saw that you earned academic all-state honors in high school before moving on to Utah State. How important were academics for you growing up, and what are your plans after playing football?
Academics were super important to me, and I credit that to my parents. They were always a school is first type parenting style, if you will. So, I always had good grades because that's how they raised me. They raised me to do schools first, right? But it was always before I started sports or anything like that. It was hey, if you don't have the grades, you are not playing. So they made that a priority for me. So I'm thankful for that, because even as a professional athlete, this is going to end one day.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm 32 right now, and I still have a ton of life left. Right. So I got to do something to make money and support for my family and stuff like that. So I was grateful that they instilled that in me.
Absolutely.
And then life after football, man, I don't know. That's something that me and my wife have talked about a lot. We have some dreams. We actually own a piece of land outside of Austin, Texas, where hopefully one day we would like to open up a wedding venue on. My wife was a photographer and videographer for weddings, and so that's been a dream of hers. So hopefully we can do that. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It's kind of unknown.
Absolutely. Well, that's sweet, dude. I've been to Austin a couple times. That's a good spot.
Nice. Yeah, we like it down there. It's cool.
Absolutely. So I read that you actually tore your ACL in a Bears preseason game in 2017. So just curious, how did that actually happen, and what was the recovery from that injury like?
I did. So it was a punt. So we were at midfield, I believe. It was the third quarter, and this dude just locked me up, and I was trying to shake him and throw him off of me. So I went to throw him to the right and then plant off my right leg and run around him to the left, right? So I threw him. When I planted on my right leg, it was twisted in a weird, not a weird way, but just like, I don't know, just abnormal, I guess. And the stress of it just went to my knee, and I felt it pop, and that was that.
Yeah. Wow.
Injuries are never good in the NFL, obviously, and I was worried. I was on a 1-year contract. I was worried about that. I was worried about making money and supporting family and stuff like that. So it was hectic. It was crazy. But the recovery for it was awful. I recommend not tearing the ACL. And there's a couple different ways to do the procedure. I did the most, I guess, the textbook sturdy way to do it, which is where they take a graft from your patella tendon, which is the tendon right below your kneecap. But by doing so, you essentially have to recover from a patella tendon tear as well as an ACL.
Wow.
So it's painful. It's like you wake up every day knowing that you have to push through that pain barrier every single day on every single exercise. And so it's not only physically exhausting, but like mentally, it's difficult too.
Awesome.
So
wow.
It was not fun.
Like
I did not enjoy it.
All right, Parth, what do you got?
As we spoke about earlier, you grew up in Utah, so you're used to these cold winters. Bears fans in Chicago have always seemed to embrace that type of weather. What is so special about playing in Chicago, and especially in the winter?
Yeah, dude, I love playing in the winter. I don't know what it is. It's just the history of it. It's a cold city. It's the windy city. You can play on a lake, so you know it's going to be colder than even a couple blocks away from the stadium. There's just something about it, and fans love it, dude. When it snows, you guys been to games before?
Oh yeah, dude. It's the Monsters of the Midway at their prime.
Oh my gosh, dude! The fans just go crazy when it starts snowing and the field's sloppy. And as players, like, we hate it, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Like, we have bad footing, so dudes are worried about soft tissue injuries and hamstrings and stuff like that. But the fans are just, Chicago Bear football weather.
You aren't kidding about that lakefront weather. You aren't kidding about that lakefront weather, though. I mean, it literally is 10 degrees colder in the suburbs than it is when you get down there for those games.
Oh, it's brutal, dude. It sits right on the lake, and the wind comes primarily in the stadium, like right off the lake onto the stadium. So you can't hide from it. There's nothing you can do. Thank God there's like sideline heaters and heated benches and stuff like that, because it would be miserable without that.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's just cool, man. And to think back, and what I really like is like when you can like really see your breath. Like in 2016, I think we played a game. It was at home versus the Packers, and it was negative the entire week leading up to it. And at kickoff, I think it was like 5 degrees, but with the wind chill, it was like -6 or something stupid. And I just thought in my head of like all the old NFL films of all the old games, Packers versus Bears and stuff like that. It's just like, you see the breath coming through dudes' face masks, and I like it. I personally like. I would much rather play in the cold than the heat.
Absolutely. Jaylen, what do you got?
You played many positions growing up, including tight end, defensive end, and obviously long snapper. You also played basketball and baseball. How did you end up deciding to go with football, and when did playing professionally become a reality to you?
Yeah, I did. I played a lot of sports growing up, and that was mostly my parents. They wanted to keep us busy and keep us outside and keep us like having fun. But my dad played college football. He played at Georgia Tech. He was an offensive guard. And so I grew up watching football with him, and he would take us to Atlanta, to Georgia Tech, and to the homecoming games with his old buddies. And, I'd see them sitting around, yucking it up, having a good old time, reliving the glory days. And I was like, this is cool, man. This has always seemed really cool to me. So I always loved football. I always wanted to play it. And I always knew that I wanted to, like, play that more than the other sports. Like, I love playing baseball. I played third base and pitcher and thoroughly enjoyed that. But it's just something that, like, I didn't want to pursue past high school. I just didn't want to. And then basketball, I played in the state of Utah, so, like, I was the tallest kid at 6'4".
Yeah.
But I knew, like, that's not going to be an option for me if I want to do anything with it. So I knew football was, like, a good way to maybe earn a scholarship for college / have a lot of fun / my dad did it. So I always wanted to do it. So that's how I chose that. And then the long snapping, my brother taught me how to long snap when I was little. I was like second grade or third grade or something like that. He came home was like, look what I learned how to do. And so he taught me how to long snap, started doing that. So every year through like Pee-wee, junior high, high school, they'd always ask who could long snap. So I'd raise my hand and show them what I could do. They're like, boom, you're the guy. So I was like, sweet.
Awesome,
so
dude.
I would always do that. I would play tight end. And, yeah, that's kind of how that began.
Awesome, dude. So the Bears have been known for some great special teamers, as you know. Everyone raves about Robbie Gould and Devin Hester. And obviously on the team right now, we've got Cordell Patterson, who actually just recently, earlier today, got named to the All-2010s Decade team. And we've also got Tariq Cohen, so two guys who are incredibly explosive on the team now. Who's your favorite special teams player of all time?
Yeah, it's crazy because like it's funny when you grow up watching football, like you don't look at special teams that much, right?
Uh-huh.
But then when you like, even in college and stuff, I didn't watch that much NFL. But like now that I play, you watch it a lot more closely. So I don't know like the history. I don't know any older dudes who really played or anything like that. But to watch Cordell Patterson play special teams, dude, he is unreal. He's just a freak out there. He's super fast. He's big. He's strong. He just like he imposes his will on who he's playing against.
Absolutely.
And so that for me is fun to watch because he just goes out there and balls out. And you're like, damn, he got another tackle. Like this is unreal. My God, he just took one to the house. Like what's going on?
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. All right,
yeah.
Jaylen. I'm gonna go back to you because I know there's a question you wanted to ask.
So, recently the Bears just went 8-8 last season. The team is coming off an 8-8 season after a trip to the playoffs in 2018. After some solid offseason additions, what are your expectations for the team in 2020?
Dude, that's funny because like everyone wants to know like, what's the expectation? What's the expectation? If we don't win the freaking trophy, dude, if we don't go to the Super Bowl, like nobody's happy and everyone's on edge. Everyone's got a hot seat, so that's always the goal, is to go to the Super Bowl and win the Lombardi Trophy. And it's funny because we had a really good season in 2018, and it was unbelievably fun. We were crushing teams, having fun, and then we went 8-8, which still like isn't that bad. It's still not that bad.
But if you look at those games too,
it was just like, dude, like. We are not good. It was crazy. It's just a big turnaround. So
it's crazy. It's crazy watching those games, just seeing how much one possession or something could have turned that team into a 10-6 team and in the playoffs. So
yeah, and that's crazy. That's a crazy part, dude. It's just like every detail is so important because you're talking about if one play goes a different way, it's a completely different ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Parth, I'm circling back around to you.
A lot of people who watch football don't know the difficulties that come with playing long snapper. What is tough about your position?
Great question. I would say the consistency. Because they literally expect me to snap a punt on the punter's hip every single time. On his right hip if he's right-footed, left hip if he's left, right? ODonnell's right-footed, so they want it on the right hip every single time. And, if it's like as low as his knee, I'm jogging off the sideline and they're like, Scales, what the hell, dude? Like, get snapping. Yeah. Like, it's not that low, right? So you have to be consistent over everything. Coaches, they want to know exactly what they're going to get on the field. So if you're kind of erratic, it's a no-go. And the second thing is the blocking on punt. That is the biggest and the hardest hurdle to overcome. Coming from college to the pros is the blocking and the speed and the physicality of those dudes trying to block punts. They got their head down and they are coming and they're twisting and they're knifing and they're setting picks on you, and it's just wild, dude. It's like the Wild West out there. Sometimes you just fight and claw and scratch. Sometimes I just call it dying a slow death because you just try to get in someone's way and literally just take up time and die a slow death so they don't block a punt.
Awesome, dude. So we all hear about the energy that Coach Nagy brings to the locker room, and we can all see the passion that he has for just truly playing winning football. What's it like being around him on a weekly basis?
He is competitive. Dude loves football in every aspect of it. He loves the game plan. He loves coming up with new plays. He loves practice. He loves competing. He loves football, dude. It's fun to be around, and he creates a fun environment too. Like we do, we do stupid competitions sometimes during OTAs.
Yeah.
Like we have those Papa Shop machines. We'll do some of those.
Egg toss and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, egg tosses. We do dance-offs every Saturday, which is nerve-wracking. He pulls names out of the hat, and then gets 2 versus 2, 2 offense versus 2 defense, and me and the kickers and punters are like sprinkled in, so we have no idea what hat we're coming out of. And if the name gets called, like you have to dance in front of the team, and it's got to be good, otherwise you get booed. I got my entire locker, like shirts, shoes, everything thrown at me because I didn't like it. And not only that, it's not only the team, but it's like everybody in the building is watching too. So it's fun, though. It's fun. He creates a really good atmosphere, and he's a tough coach, dude. He's fun to play for.
Can I ask you one more coming off of that one?
Yeah, hit me. Anything.
How much fun is Club Dub after a win?
Club Dub's lit, dude. It's fun. Shoot, wins cure everything in the NFL. So anytime you get a win, like your body feels better, nothing hurts. Like whatever you screwed up in practice and your coach was mad at, he's not mad anymore. And so once you win, dude, you go into Club Dub and it's just fun. Everyone's dancing around and having a good time. Coaches are feeling it. It's fun.
I'm sure you don't get as ridiculed for your dance moves after a win.
Correct.
Awesome.
Thankfully.
All right, Jaylen, do you have one more?
Yeah, so your first year with us was in 2015. After being, around a couple of teams, who really took you under their wing to, help you learn, the culture of Chicago and just how the Bears are as a team?
That's a good question. I would say, at the time, Robbie was the kicker and O'Donnell, and just naturally, like, we're together all day because of meetings, because of practice, free time, everything. Like we're together all the time, so they helped me out a ton. They answered all the questions. Anything I needed, they were there, and they were probably, I guess, my hand holders through that. So
awesome.
Those are good dudes, and I owe them for that.
All right, Parth, you got one more?
Sure. Who is your favorite opponent to face, and what's your favorite opposing stadium to play in?
Any of our NFC North teams to play is always fun, just because we see each other twice a year, and we know, like, everybody knows each other at that point, and we know their game plan and their schemes. It gets to the point where, like, we know their calls and what they're going to do and stuff like that. So that's always fun. Those are like real chess matches.
Absolutely.
And then as far as any stadium, there's still quite a few I haven't played in, actually. Mm-hmm. But I love the indoor ones just because we play in Chicago.
Yeah.
in the cold, messy weather, anytime we get to go to an indoor one, it's like, I can't believe these guys get to play here 8 times a year. This is unreal.
I drove up to Minnesota for week 17, 2018 before we made the playoffs, and I enter that stadium. It's freezing cold. I'm like, it's 75 degrees in the stadium no matter where you are.
It's
ridiculous.
Nice stadium, right?
Ridiculous. All right, I've got one more for you, and I think this is our last one. So you wore the number 89 at Utah State and have worn the number 48 on numerous occasions in the NFL. Is there any deeper meaning behind those numbers for you?
Nope, those were assigned. I was a walk-on at Utah State. I didn't receive any scholarship opportunities coming out of high school. And I picked Utah State because I thought that I could go there and play right away. I didn't want to go. I had offers to walk on at bigger schools in bigger conferences, but they were like, you probably have to, red shirt, sit behind a guy for a couple of years, and then you see the field. I was like, I didn't want to do that. I just want to play football, right? And so I chose Utah State because honestly, they weren't that good at the time, and I knew I could play right away. Mm-hmm. And so I walked on to Utah State as a walk-on, right? So, like, nobody really respects – I shouldn't say they don't respect you, but, like, you're low man on the totem pole, right? Uh-huh. So they just throw a jersey at you. So I was a tight end wearing number 98. And I was like, are you kidding me? This is, like, bootleg.
Yeah.
The dude had to be, like, 15 years old, I think.
Yeah.
Zero respect. And so, 2 weeks into training camp, they're like, hey, we actually need that number for a D lineman, so we're going to switch you for 89. I was like, okay, sweet. That's actually a tight end number. I'll take it.
Absolutely. Awesome.
So that's how that came. And then I was just assigned number 48, right? Well, coming out as a rookie, and then most every team is almost giving me 48, so that's kind of my number.
Cool. Do any of you guys have any more questions for him?
Yeah, thanks for joining us, though.
Oh, here we got one more.
Sure. Yeah, hit me.
I actually have one more question. So if I'm correct, I think Cameron Meredith tore his ACL that same game against Tennessee when you tore yours, if I'm right.
Yeah, 10 minutes before I did.
Wow.
So, how was that like, or how was you guys' journey going along, both coming off ACL injuries and, going through rehab and stuff like that?
Yeah, me and Cam became pretty close. He's a cool dude. It sucked, dude. It's so negative. When you get hurt, dude, it just sucks. Yeah. Everything sucks. You're worried about your job. You're worried about next year. You're worried about, dude, like, my knee hurts so bad. And it takes, 3 to 4 months before you even start jogging. And they jog you at, half weight. They don't even let you put full pressure on it when you first start running. So, there's ideas going through your head. You're like, am I even going to be able to get back to what I was? This is insane. So it was definitely nice to have somebody with literally the same injury going through that, because we could talk each other out of that sort of negativity and keep pushing and try to be as positive as possible. So it was definitely nice to have somebody in the exact same boat at the exact same time. And but yeah, like I said, we became pretty close, and I like Cam. Cam's a good dude.
Absolutely. Well, that's a really good question, Jaylen. I don't think we wrote that one down. Good job.
Nah.
Well, thank you very much, Pat, for coming on.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, guys. I enjoyed it.
So a link to Pat's Cameo campaign will be down in the description. And the day this episode goes live on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, please check the Bear Down Instagram. We will be posting the giveaway. We're going to give away one of Pat's cameos, and all the funds go to iGrow Chicago. So be sure to check out our Instagram for that. You can follow Pat on Instagram at PatScales48. You can also follow him on Twitter at P_Scales. If you would like more content, please do us a favor and check out our website, beardown.com. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Bear Down. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. And as always, Chicago, Bear Down. Peace.